Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now. If you're a Steelers fan, you know that roster cutdown day in the NFL is always a roller coaster, right? It's one of those days where surprises are almost guaranteed, and this year was no different. The Steelers, as always, made some moves that had fans scratching their heads, but also some that seemed to make perfect sense when you look at the bigger picture of their roster strategy and team-building plans. So, let's dive into what happened, what it means, and what we can expect moving forward in this exciting 2024 season. Because if there's one thing Steelers fans know well, it's that the team is always looking to improve, always trying to find that perfect mix of veteran experience and young talent to push for another Super Bowl run. Starting with the defensive backfield, one of the biggest surprises was the release of Beanie Bishop Jr. Bishop, an undrafted free agent last year, really made waves early on. Remember that Week 7 game in primetime when he intercepted Aaron Rodgers twice? That was a moment that made Steelers fans sit up and take notice. Bishop, despite being undrafted, managed to start 6 games as a rookie and had 4 interceptions, which is quite impressive for someone coming from outside the draft process. It's not every day you see an undrafted cornerback make such an immediate impact, especially in a defense that values ball hawks and playmakers. So, seeing him cut was a bit of a shock, especially considering how he fought for a spot during preseason. But there's more to the story. The Steelers have been bolstering their secondary with new additions, most notably Jalen Ramsey, who was acquired this offseason and is expected to be a key piece, especially in the slot. Ramsey's arrival means that Bishop, who primarily played nickel corner last season, was fighting an uphill battle to keep his spot. Now, what's interesting is that Bishop didn't even get to finish the preseason finale. He was sidelined due to an injury, which, combined with the team's recent acquisition of Ramsey, signaled that his spot on the roster was shaky. It's always tough for undrafted players, especially when injuries come into play, but the Steelers clearly made a calculated decision to go in a different direction. The move is also a reflection of how competitive training camp and preseason are for these spots. Every rep counts, and when you're fighting for a roster spot, especially with a player like Ramsey now in the mix, the margin for error shrinks. Then, there's the veteran safety Chuck Clark, who was released along with James Pierre. Clark was signed at the start of camp and was expected to be part of the safety rotation, maybe even as a depth piece. But surprisingly, his release caught some off guard. Clark was thought to be a reliable veteran presence, and many believed he had a good shot to make the final roster. So, why was he cut? Well, according to reports and comments from Steelers insiders, the team's defensive coordinator Terrell Austin mentioned that Clark was fighting for a spot. But ultimately, the team decided to go with Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, and Miles Killebrew as their safety options. Essentially, the team is going young and versatile there. Clark's release, along with Pierre's, leaves the secondary with just 3 safeties on the roster, which is a bold move but one that speaks to the confidence in their remaining players and the coaching staff's vision. And speaking of the cornerback room, James Pierre was also released, despite being expected to contribute on special teams, especially as a gunner. Pierre has been a steady presence, and fans remember his contributions last season. The decision to part ways with him signals that the Steelers prioritized younger, or more versatile options, and perhaps wanted to give opportunities to other players in preseason. But the real eye-catcher in this cornerback shakeup was Beanie Bishop Jr. His early impact and the hype he generated in camp made his release a notable surprise, and fans are already debating the decision. Moving over to the wide receiver room, this was another area of significant change. Veteran Robert Woods, who was brought in to add experience and reliable hands, was released. Woods, in his 13th NFL season, was clearly the most seasoned receiver on the roster. Despite his veteran status, last season was a bit of a down year for him. just 20 catches for 203 yards and no touchdowns with the Houston Texans. When you compare that to his career, Woods has been a consistent contributor, but age and the natural decline that comes with it seem to be factors in this decision. The Steelers also released Brandon Johnson and Keshawn Williams, which leaves them with 5 wide receivers on the roster for now, including the young guys fighting for that final spot. The interesting thing here is, with Woods gone, the team's receiver room becomes a little more youthful and perhaps a little less experienced, but also more dynamic. The Steelers have shown in recent years that they value speed and versatility at the receiver position, and that's likely why they kept some of the younger players, hoping they can develop into reliable targets for quarterback Kenny Pickett. This move also signals that they're confident in the rest of their weapons and perhaps are looking to emphasize the run game or tight ends a little more this season. Beyond the wideouts, the team also made some moves on the offensive line, waiving Dylan Cook and Max Sharping, and releasing running back Trey Sermon. These moves are all part of the ongoing effort to finalize a roster that balances veteran experience with young talent, always keeping an eye toward the future, but with a clear intent to contend right now. The team's front office and coaching staff seem to be comfortable with the current depth chart, trusting their evaluations and the progress of their players during camp. This roster cutdown day isn't just about who's in and who's out. It's about setting the tone for the season. The Steelers, with their rich history of strong defenses and resilient play, are once again positioning themselves as serious contenders. The addition of Jalen Ramsey, the decision to move on from certain veterans like Robert Woods and Chuck Clark, and the unexpected release of players like Beanie Bishop Jr., all point to a team that's refining its identity. They want speed, playmaking, and a relentless attitude on defense. Offensively, they're looking for consistency, but also for youth and potential to emerge as the season progresses. The coaching staff, led by Mike Tomlin, has always been known for their ability to adapt and make smart decisions under pressure. This year is no different. They're betting on their young talent to step up, while also leaning on experienced guys like Miles Killebrew and Deshaun Elliott to stabilize the secondary. And let's not forget, with the draft and free agency moves, the Steelers are building a roster that could surprise a lot of people this season. They've set a foundation that combines grit, talent, and a hunger to get back to the Super Bowl. As we look ahead, the expectations for Pittsburgh are high. The AFC North is stacked with talented teams like the Ravens and Bengals, but the Steelers have the defense and the coaching to make a serious run. The secondary, even with some surprises like the release of Bishop and Pierre, remains a strength, especially with Ramsey now aboard. The question is, how quickly will these new pieces gel? Can Kenny Pickett elevate his game and lead this team to new heights? And of course, what impact will these roster moves have on the chemistry and performance in the first few games of the season? There's a lot to be excited about, but also some uncertainty, which makes this season all the more intriguing for Steelers fans. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. Whether it's roster moves, game analysis, or insider information, we're here to keep you in the loop. So make sure you're subscribed and share this video with your friends, because the Steelers season is just around the corner, and the best fans deserve the best coverage. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep that Steelers spirit alive.